Hello and welcome to another broadcast, Supernatural Breakthrough. I'm going to give you guys a few moments to come in. When you come in, say hello. I'd love to say hello back to you. Let me know where you're tuning in from and share this broadcast. Like it, love it, share it, get the message out. Let as many people as you know, let them know about what's happening. I believe it's going to be a powerful encounter tonight. And so let's see who comes in tonight. Hey guys, come on in. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. My goodness, I don't know why it feels like a Friday. Hello, Yatasha. Good to have you on. Hello, Elder Clara. Hello, Yolanda. Good evening to each of you guys. I see you guys coming in. When you come in, like it, like the broadcast, love the broadcast, share the broadcast. Let me know you're on. Say hello to the others. You know how we do. Hello, Shonda. Good to have you on. Hey, Salita. Hello, Harper family. Pastor Erica, good to have you on. Hey, OV. Hello, Florence. Good to have you on. Good evening to each of you. I'm super excited about you all joining us. We are on our final day of this stretch of Deeper July Supernatural Breakthrough, and I am so excited about what God is doing. God has been meeting us in unprecedented ways during this time of fasting and prayer. And if you've been a part of it, if you've been a part of the Deeper Tribe, you've been a part of what we've been doing, then you know there's been something a little different about this particular broadcast, or not broadcast, but just the different pours we've been having each morning. And even our evening pours have been amazing as well. I want to speak to some more people. Hello, Trelina. Good to have you on. Hello, Nene. Hello, Evangelist Barbara. Good to have you on. Hey guys, I see you guys coming in. Let me make sure I can get this broadcast out to some other people. Give me a moment. Let's see here. Hopefully you guys can. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see. Go out of it and come back in. Hello, Barbara. Come on in, guys. Listen, I need everybody to put in the chat. It's Supernatural Breakthrough is here. Supernatural Breakthrough is here. Hello. Hey, Jody. Hello. Yes, listen, this Deeper has hit different. GT family, okay? When I tell you, she said, correction, GT family. If you were on the broadcast last night, you know that we have identified this time that we're in, this window of time that we're in. We've identified this as our Gethsemane. We called ourselves the Gethsemane tribe, because we are in the place of crushing, the place of breaking, the place of the olive press. When you go in one way, but you come out another. When you go in one way, in one form, but you come out pure. And there's a pure premium oil that flows from us. And so we understand that there is a method to the madness, right? There's a method to the madness. There's a reason why things are happening. I need some more people to share this broadcast with people. When you share the broadcast, let me know you shared it. I would so appreciate that. If you would help me get this word out. Yes. Help me get this word out to as many people as possible. Listen, we're going to get ready to get started. I'm not going to prolong the time because we have been experiencing great breakthrough over the last almost 72 hours now. I just expect God to continue. As I was sharing with you guys, I believe on last night, that I really believe that God is going to, in some kind of way, extend this fasting in July for another time. So I want you to be on the lookout. I will be sharing with you some additional dates and times for us to fast together, because I believe, hello, I see you. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Ma West. Hello, Miss Yvonne. Hello. Hey, Shannon. I do believe that there are some additional dates we're going to add. And the reason why is because as we are coming, I do believe that for some of you guys, the intensity of this Gethsemane, this place of Gethsemane, this pressing, this crushing, I want us to keep each other encouraged. And I want us to be intentional about that, because Gethsemane is not for the weak. Let's just put that out there, right? Gethsemane is not for the weak. It's only, by the time you get there, it's really because, God already knows how you're going to come out of it. So I think that's one reason why you and I can rejoice tonight. We can rejoice because we know that the fact that we made it to Gethsemane, Hello, Andrea. Hey, Claiborne family. The fact that we made it to Gethsemane is a sign of what's coming. If you wanted to know how this thing's going to pan out, if you wanted to know how this thing is going to end or how it's going to what's going to happen next, all you got to do is look at the place you are. David called it Baal Perazim, the place that what the Lord provides breakthrough. And here we talk about Gethsemane on yesterday, and so I want to share from a more than a particular text of scripture tonight. I really want to share about a particular example that I believe will be symbolic or is symbolic of what the Lord is doing in us and through us. And so we had a powerful encounter this morning. OV just ministered the word of the Lord. She really ministered the story of Hannah as it relates to supernatural breakthrough. I was taking all kinds of notes, and then we had a powerful time where we just really all came off mute, and we just began to praise and pray, and then God came back with the prophetic words and insight about the future and about the next 15 days. And so I really, really, really want you, even though we're breaking this fast after this broadcast, you guys know how we do. We usually break the fast after the broadcast. After the broadcast, the fast, you are released from the fast unless you desire to continue or you feel led to continue. But I want you to remain in a posture. Don't forget this place. Don't forget the revelation that you have received from and I'm not just saying from deeper. I'm saying that you've been receiving recently. Don't forget those things. Go back and rehearse what the Lord is saying and what he's been saying to us, because I'm going to tell you all something. Sometimes the pressure and the pain, yes, you did, Gilbert. Sometimes the pressure and the pain of Gethsemane, it can almost make you feel like it can it even get any worse? And so you got to have the right perspective while you're in this place, while you're in this space. You got to know why you're here, and you can't run from it. You got to be willing to endure through it. And so I want to share something that I think will help you tonight. I want to read a portion of scripture from Esther chapter number 4. Yes, it was amazing. I felt a break. And let me tell you, do you guys remember this morning? There was a time when Obi was talking about it was like a intensity, almost like a birthing, breaking forth, a birthing that was happening. Some of you guys may have felt it. I literally felt that. I felt such a just within my, in my belly, like in the pit of my belly, I just began to. It was almost uncontrollable what the Lord was doing, and it was happening for me. And she was talking about it at the same time, and I was like, "Oh Lord, this is so powerful." Yes. It was so powerful. If you've not had a chance to listen to the broadcast from this morning, if you're on the Bombarding Heaven page, you can see the links. I've included all of the links for the last 3 days, 3 mornings. You can go back, and I would encourage you. And if you go through the recording, you're going to realize I record the entire pour, and then I stop recording when we come off mute and we do our, what we do. But then when I'm sensing that the Lord wants to speak again, I go back and I record again. And so it's going to pick back up with what I call the after glory, the glory that came afterwards. And so definitely go back and experience. I want to say it was almost 80 minutes of pure power, glory. And so we're so grateful to Overseer Vash for how she poured this morning, and she's just been pouring the last couple of days. Such a powerful time. I want us to go to Esther chapter number 4, verse 10 through 17. Esther chapter number 4, verse 10 through 17. One of the assignments that we had this week was for us to really look for supernatural breakthrough strategies. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this text as much as I just believe it will be a good place for us to just ponder on, because it's already a story that we're going to be talking about. If you just joined the broadcast, please hit the share button. Let someone else know that we're on, or let us know where you're tuning in from. The Bible says in Esther chapter number 4, verse 10, I'm in the New Living Translation. Then Esther told Haddock, that's how I'm going to say it, to go back and relay this message to Mordecai. All the king's officials and even the people in the provinces know that anyone who appears before the king in his inner court without being invited is doomed to die unless the king holds out his gold scepter. And the king has not called for me to come to him for 30 days. So Hannah gave Esther's message to Mordecai. Mordecai was her older cousin who ended up adopting her because her parents died, and so she, this older cousin, adopted and helped raise Esther Hadassah up, and really trained her up and prepared her for what was coming. And I don't even want to get into that. I was going to go there, but I'll just say we need to honor the Mordecais. We need to learn how to honor the Mordecais, because we need Mordecais. We need those that know how to birth us out, or help raise us up, show us the way. Honor those that have showed you the way, that have paved paved the pathway for you in some regard. Honor those people. Let me tell you something. I don't care how beautiful Esther was. I don't care how good she smelled. I don't care what her shape was. Had she not been groomed by Mordecai, she never would have been positioned to be able to save an entire group of people, entire people group, which was her people. And so we honor the Mordecais. We got to honor those Mordecais. May you identify your Mordecais, and may you honor them, and may you allow nothing and no one to ever make you think contrary of that. Because this is the thing, even though seasons changed, even though climates changed, even though environments changed, even though her address changed, Mordecai had a stick-to-itness. He stuck right with Esther. Even when she was taken into the harem, he would come to the gate daily to see what was going on. He was always around to make sure that she was good. He had a personal vested interest in ensuring that she had everything she needs. So we gotta, yes, Pastor Erica. Honor is, I gotta put that up. Honor is definitely a part of the breakthrough strategy. That's a part of the breakthrough strategy. How you honor, who you honor, hello Bernice, is important. We need to learn how to honor our Mordecais, not idolize them, not worship them, but we need to learn how to honor. And honor seems to be almost a lost art. We are the type, if we're not careful, we become the kind of people that as long as you're doing what I want you to do, I'm with you. The moment you don't do what I want you to do, then I don't want nothing to do with you. We can't be those kind of people. We got to know how to honor. I use the analogy like this. You got to know how to, you don't have to diss your second grade teacher to honor your third grade teacher. Does that make sense? You don't have to diss. Sometimes we feel like we got to throw away what helped us get to where we are, right? Let me tell you something. Before I ever knew what non-denominational was, before I ever knew what speaking in tongues was, before I ever knew a lot of the Pentecostal and the apostolic ways, I grew up missionary Baptist. I do not regret the roots that I had. I do not regret. Yes, there may not have been perfect. Yes, there were all, there was a lot of structure. But let me tell you something. I thank God for structure. I thank God. I didn't know nothing about starting church late. We didn't start church late. I didn't know nothing about, now it's not to knock anybody, but I didn't know anything about, taking 2 and 3 offerings up because we didn't have enough money. We didn't do that growing up. We had business meetings, and in the meetings we talked business, right? And there were receipts, and there was, and so I don't dismiss. I had the same pastor my whole childhood up until I actually went out and started to do ministry at that time with my husband. Up until that time, I had, that was the pastor that I had, and he trained me. He raised me up in that Missionary Baptist Church. So I don't knock. God bless Dr. Harvey L. Penn, Martinsville, Virginia. He helped raise me up. I learned so much from him, and so I don't have to dismiss him. I don't have to throw him by the wayside so that I can honor those that will come after me. Although I went into ministry, there were others that helped teach me and train me to do various things over time. I mean, I learned so much about being equipped from certain places. When I got to certain places, I learned that. Then I went on to, I learned about, other ways and how to really go with the flow and the prophetic flow. I learned a lot of those things, but people look at me now and they think I've been doing this my whole life. I've been in church my whole life, but baby, we had a lot of structure, right? You know, I remember sitting through meetings and they saying we don't want no drums in this church, and we don't want no electric piano. We want a piano, and we vote no to drums. We will revisit it next year at the same time, but we don't want drums in this church. And you got to understand, I was a church musician. So, you know, I was being raised up as the church musician, one of the church musicians. And so it was us that sort of introduced the drums and the other instruments. And that took a while for them to be okay with that. And then my church really didn't believe in a whole lot of women pastors. I don't know why. We're going to get the breakthrough, I promise you, but this is going to help somebody because some of us are looking for our big break, and it ain't the break we think we need. The break we really need is a humility break. And so I went to a church that didn't really believe in a lot of women pastors. They didn't believe in women preaching. You know, my pastor went out on a limb when it was time for me to preach. And I wasn't the first person to preach there as a woman, but they didn't really do a lot of that. And it had to be voted on for me to preach my initial sermon. And after I preached my initial sermon, they had to vote on it again to see if they felt I was called, right, to do what I did. And I remember people, deacons coming up to me and said, listen, I ain't never believed in no woman preacher, but I'm gonna tell you something, baby. You made a believer out of me, right? I don't diss my upbringing. I don't diss Promised Land Missionary Baptist Church, Benita, Virginia. Shout out. I don't diss that to get to where I am. Honor is, God bless those that know how to honor through it all. You got to know how. And people that know me know, I can't teach nothing. I can't hardly talk long without saying, like my spiritual father says. Go say it. Because in many regards, he has awakened so much in me over the last 9 years that I glean. Anytime I talk to him, I'm all ears. Because we ain't gossiping. We talking. He gonna talk word. He gonna share wisdom. He's gonna give me warfare strategies. And I'm one of those people I want to know. And so I want you to know that part of your supernatural breakthrough strategy is how you honor. Some of us need to go back and get some things right tonight, tomorrow, this week. Don't you let this month go out and you ain't got some stuff right now. I'm not telling you to go back and open up a can of worms. What I'm telling you, honor don't even always mean you got to have a conversation, but it's a heart posture. Lord, my heart posture has to shift concerning some things. And so I just think that's interesting. We need our Mordecai. Let's keep reading. Esther 4:13. Mordecai sent this reply to Esther. Don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace, you will escape when all other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise. Mordecai was a man of faith. He was a man of faith. He believed that it was going to happen. He didn't know how it was going to happen, but he knew it was going to happen. He said, listen, the deliverance of the Jews is inevitable because I know the way this is going to go. I know we're the chosen people. So the relief that the Jews need is going to arise. And it may have to come from another place. But you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just such a time as this. Hear me. The posture that you have right now, there is so much riding on you staying in this place called the breaking point, the place of crushing, the place of suffering. There is so much riding on you not getting people back, but just staying in the right, with the heart posture. There's so much riding on this. He said, listen, who knows? Just maybe the reason why you've been honored the way you've been honored, just maybe, it's because you've been called to this position for such a time as this. I need you all to know, you're not on your job by accident. You're not in the relationships you're on by accident. You don't live on the street you live on by accident. You're not involved in the extracurricular activities you're involved in by accident. There is nothing in your life that's happening by accident. I promise you. I know you think that you made all this happen because of your vision board. But let me tell you something. There is nothing happening by accident. I know unequivocally why that there's a reason why I had to move 2,000 miles in this last move or more. I mean, ultimately, when I think about the totality of the move, although it was in pieces, that's major. I'm not in this region by accident. I know I'm here for a reason, especially since I told God, I don't ever, people ask me all the time, I say, I'm not ever going to live back in the East Coast. I'm never going back to live on the East Coast. And I meant it. And I didn't mean it to be mean. I just love the West Coast. So I'm like, no, I don't really have any reason to go back to the East Coast other than to visit. Right? Not really to live. You know, I never thought. So when God told me that he needed me to come to Atlanta, I thought to myself, God, you'd have missed it. Because you know I told you, you know, talking about breakthrough, but God, you know I told you that, you know, I'm not going back to the East Coast. So now, last I checked on the map, I didn't do the best in geography, but I do know that Atlanta's in Georgia. And I believe and Georgia's on the coast. That's East Coast. That ain't gonna work for me. And the Lord began to give me instruction. And I'm going to tell you something. That thing did not sit well with me, because I promise you, I just need to say this to some people that feel like God's will got to feel good. That this place that you're in has got to make you feel good in order for you to do it. Don't listen. Erica, listen. It don't always feel good. This place of crushing does not feel good, but it is needed and it's necessary for where you're going. You know, yeah, I told you, God, I ain't doing that. You know, now God, I got plenty folk out here need saving. Plenty folk out here need saving. I can't see. What I'm going to Atlanta for? What we doing out there? Everybody and their mama got a ministry there. What would you need me to do? I don't need to go to Atlanta. I just don't understand it. I mean, I pouted and I kicked and screamed as I packed up all my stuff and moved cross country yet again. Ultimately. We're not even going to talk about the process of the transition, but we're just going to talk about it had to happen. But what I did not recognize was that the thing, and this is going to help somebody, right, Jody, that the thing that you are kicking against the most, the thing that you don't want to do the most, is the thing that's going to bless you the most. I don't know who need to hear this tonight, but it's going to bless you. That thing that you don't want to do, that piece of instruction that God keeps giving you, or that he's giving you that you don't want to do, guess what? That's the thing that's going to bless you. I had no clue what was waiting for me once I got into the place of obedience. Shall I say, of I was already in a place of obedience, but you know, when God gives you new instruction, I had to move on it. And I can't even begin to tell you the level of favor that I begin to operate in, even on another dimension from even LA. It moved to another whole dimension when I moved to Atlanta. I'm just amazed. I wake up even every day still amazed at what God has done. I'm amazed at how God thought so much of me that he literally designed this season of my life to be a perfect complement to me, to be a season of fulfillment. Can I tell you what you're getting to walk in? An unexpected season of fulfillment. Somebody put that in the chat. It doesn't mean that you weren't looking for fulfillment, but your fulfillment is going to come from places that you least expect. I just did not see how in the world God was going to do something. I just didn't understand. God, you mean I got to leave these? I got to leave this scenery. I got to leave this. And that move also meant that my assistant, who had been with me at that time, 6.5 years, right? That meant that my assignment was changing, her assignment was changing. So she was going to one state, one time zone. I was going to another state, another time zone. We both was like, God, this is ghetto. This is ghetto. This is ghetto. Like, get somebody else to do it. Because we fine. We fine, right? Why? But God's plan is perfect. And oftentimes, when you have desires, when you get to a place in God where you have been, I'm sorry, B, when you get to a place, in God where you have been obedient to you've done the hard things. You went through those hard seasons. You've suffered. You've done what you needed to do. God begins to unravel and bring you into seasons that you didn't expect. And I am walking in a season of unexpected fulfillment that I did not know I needed. I want to speak over your life that you're getting ready to walk into a season that is going to so complement you. It's going to be so customized. It's going to be so for you that you will not be able to mistake it as a generic blessing. You're going to know that God did it just for you. God's going to put you right where he wants you, but you got to stop telling God, no, I don't want to do that. You gotta get to the point where you're willing to say, God, not my will, but yours be done. Now, if you really go back to the study in Esther, you'll recognize that Esther, they went back and forth a minute because Esther was like, no, we're not going to do that. And I think I'm not even going to go there, but just know that, Esther's like, oh, okay, I hate that. I hate that this is what's happening. I hate this, but I can't put my life on the line like this because the king has not asked for me in 30 days. And if I go and stand before the king and he's not asked for me, the penalty of that, if he doesn't extend the scepter, the penalty for that is death. So Mordecai tells her, hey, maybe you've been called for such time as this did. So verse 15 says, Esther 4:15 says, then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai, go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. Woo! See, you all think you flexing because you got folk that will eat with you. And you all think you flexing because you got folk that will vacation with you. And you think you doing something because you got some friends that will, go do do some little extracurricular activities and go walk the trail with you. That's cute. But God, I'm looking for those who are fast for me. Like, do you got? That's why this Gethsemane tribe is so important right through here, because it means something when you got some folks that will be in that will be in the cut with you when you got to turn that plate over, when you know that you're in a hard place, when you know you ain't coming out of that place until God get glory. You need to I appreciate you. I love how you like to be around me, but Lord, unlock the type of friends, unlock the kind of acquaintances, unlock the kind of tribe that will fast for me. Now, not just fast with me, but fast for me. See, a lot of people will fast with you, but not a lot of people will fast for you. Not a lot of people do that. Esther said, listen, get everybody together. I need you to tell them to fast for me. Because see, this is the thing. See, the problem with a lot of people, you can't fast for me if you want to be me. Oh, I'm going to drink to that. You can't fast for me if you want to be me. You can't fast for me if you're jealous of me. You can't fast for me if you want what I got. You want my life. You want my braids. You want my eyebrows. You want my body. You want to look like me. You want to act like me. You want to drive what I drive. You want to have what I have. You want to have who I have. No. God, give us discernment. That ain't no flex. You can't fast. You can't fast for me if you want to be me. And see, when you understand assignment, catch this. See, don't lose your assignment. Okay, Misty? Esther had a position that no other Jews had. She had been named the new queen after Vashti was exiled or could no longer come into the king's presence. Esther is the new queen. She is the highest of, she has the favor of the king. She can have whatever she wants. She's no longer just the young girl who was raised by her older cousin. She's no longer the girl who went through all the beauty treatments and the perfume treatments and the special diet. She's not just that girl no more. She has a position that's going to affect everybody around her, everybody connected to her, everybody in her bloodline. Can you imagine what would have happened if the people of Susa, the Jews of Susa, would have said, well, I don't know why she queen anyway, because technically it should have been me. And it can, and I can do it just like she can. See, we've got to understand positioning and function. And we got to know how to get into position on where we've been called and stop being jealous and envious of people who've been called to do stuff. Let me tell you something. I didn't ask for this. And I wouldn't even advise anybody to want it. So it always amazes me if somebody want what I got, because I'm thinking, baby, if I don't even know if I wanted the warfare for what I got. So I'm trying to figure out why you want it. But Esther was the one that God was getting ready to move through. And so she said, listen, tell them to fast with me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. For 3 days, guys. It's not by accident that we did this I didn't even didn't think about it at the time when I was putting this all together. But think it not strange that we did a 3-day fast this time. 3 days. She said, do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will do the same. This is the other thing. Don't be asking me to do something that you're not willing to do. I don't need you to fast with me if I'm not going to fast for myself. We in this thing together. Tell somebody, we in this together. And then, though it was against the law, she said, I will go in to see the king. If I must die, I must die. So Mordecai went away and did everything as Esther had ordered him. Mordecai understood the assignment. In that moment, he didn't say, who you talking to like that? You know who raised you? I raised you. I fed you. He understood that Esther, the power was in Esther's, in her. It wasn't in, he didn't have the capacity. He didn't have the ability. He didn't have the function. He didn't have the mandate for that, but Esther had it. And so he began, once he had provoked her enough, then she comes back with instructions, say, okay, the only strategy that I can think of that's going to get us victory is we got to fast. The only thing that I can think of that's going to really give us the breakthrough we need, because there are all kinds of memos out that's saying that it's going to be they're going to kill every Jew that's here, every Jew in the provinces. And I want to say the King Xerxes was over like 196 or 170, something like a bunch of provinces. So they were going to take some folk out of here. But during this, she understood that the strategy was, I can't do this on my own. My beauty ain't going to bring this to pass. My position alone won't bring this to pass. My perfume won't bring this to pass. Who I know won't necessarily bring this to pass. But catch this. If you keep reading, let me put it in there. Hold on 1 second. If you keep reading, they go back. He delivers the message. Then Esther told Hadad to go back and relay the message. And to Mordecai. No, I got to get this right. Hold on, I'm in the wrong place. Okay. Then Esther sent the reply. Go and gather. Got that. Now let's go to chapter 5 real quick, and then I'm gonna share this and we're gonna be done. Okay, on the 3rd day of the fast, Esther put on her, this is where I want to get to. On the 3rd, this is Esther 5, New Living Translation. On the 3rd day of the fast, on what day? Somebody put 3. On the 3rd day of the fast, what day are we in of our fast? Esther put on her royal robes and entered the inner court of the palace, just across from the king's. See, I need to tell somebody, after this this fast, like when we go, as we turn on into July 4th, and as we go into, see, July 4th gonna have a new meaning for GT. It's gonna have a new meaning for GT. It's gonna have a new meaning for the Gethsemane tribe, right? Because as we're moving into that fourth day, as we're moving into the after that on the third day of the fast, which is really today, so technically it's today, right? So as we move, as we are finishing out this part of our fast, guess what? Esther rose up and put on her royal robes. You got to know now, you got to come out of them sackcloth and ashes now. See, the sackcloth and ashes was for when they were fasting. The wailing and the crying and all of that was for when they was fasting. But see, now it's time to do the work. Now it's time for her to position herself for what she fasted for. See, we fasted for some stuff these last 72 hours. But are you now prepared to move into the manifestation of what we've been fasting for? She went into the inner court of the palace just across from the king's hall. Look at this. The king was sitting on his royal throne. Remember that at this point, she's putting herself in harm's way because she could easily be given the death sentence just by entering his presence without being invited. When, verse 2, I just want to say that there's a glory I believe is going to rest on the people that have positioned themselves during this fast. I just believe there's a glory that's going to come out of you. There's a favor that's going to shine through for you. And look what happened on this at the end of this fast. When he saw Queen Esther standing there in the inner court, he welcomed her and held out his gold scepter to her. So Esther approached and touched the end of the scepter. Now I got to go back to this, and I need to look at this in the Message version, this part of it. Let me say this, 3 days later, Esther dressed in her royal robes and took up a position. I need somebody to put this in the chat. It's time to take up our positions. It's time to take up our positions. She took up her position in the inner court of the palace in front of the king's throne room. The king was on his throne facing the entrance. When he noticed Queen Esther standing in the court, he was pleased to see her. The king extended his gold scepter in his hand. Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. The king asked, "And what's your desire, Queen Esther? What do you want?" Woo! What is your desire, Esther? Queen, what do you want? Ask, and it's yours, even if it's half of my kingdom. I want to speak this over you. I know your name's not Esther. I know you were not alive at this time. I know that it may be a stretch for some, but I want you to know something. There is a prototype. There is a strategy that is being released here. After this 3-day fast, she arises, she puts on her royal garments, she prepares herself, she takes up her position in her place that she's been called to. When she gets there, he is pleased with what he sees. Let me tell you something. Tell somebody, fasting works. Fasting works. He asks her when he sees her, what is your desire? Can I ask you tonight, what is your desire? What you want? What do you need? He said, what do you want? Not even need. What do you want? I want to say to those of you all that are posturing yourself during this time, that are going through this season of crushing and pressing and great breaking, the breaking point, you're entering a time very soon where you will see the desires of your heart begin to manifest. You will begin to see the desires of your heart. What is your desire? What do you want? What can I give you? That favor that Esther had was nothing short of supernatural in the sense that she had so positioned herself, and the people of God, the Jews of Susa, had so positioned themselves, and there's something that happens when a group of people come together in unity and will fast together, something happens. Esther, in a moment when it could have went left, she goes from thinking about, am I going to perish, to what's my desire? Then she begins to share her strategy, because see, this is what you got to know. It is during your fasting time that God releases the strategy to you, so that when you do arise out of that place, you know exactly what to do. Can I say this to you? Don't you come out of this place. Don't you come out of turning your plate over. Don't you come out of all this studying and wailing and laying before the Lord and don't have no strategy. If you ain't got no strategy, don't you put that mess in don't you put no meat in your mouth tonight. Don't you drink no caffeine tonight. You need to come out of this thing with strategy. You need to come out of this thing ready, because when she knew exactly what she wanted, she already had a strategy. She said, okay, I want you and Haman to come to dinner. I'm gonna prepare. I got it all prepared. I'm gonna have it all prepared. And if you study the story, you know that she doesn't give them what she doesn't tell them what she wants immediately. She invites him back a second day for another dinner. But there's a strategy that God is using, because you'll recognize that there's a timing of everything. She asked, look at this. She says, if it pleases the king, verse 4, chapter 5, if it pleases the king, said Esther, I'm in the Message version, let the king come with Haman to dinner. Now you got to understand, Haman was the one that was trying to take Mordecai out. He hated Mordecai. He was also the one that wanted to kill all the Jews, which would include Esther. So he said, listen, which Haman was like his right, but was the king's right hand. So he said, I want you and Haman to come to dinner. She said, I want you and Haman to come to dinner. I'll prepare it for you. She said, the king said, okay, let's get Haman. Excuse me. Let's get Haman. Let's do dinner. So the king and Haman joined Esther at the dinner she arranged. And as they were drinking the wine, the king said, now, what is it you want, baby? What you want? Half of the kingdom isn't too much to ask. Just ask. Listen, I need somebody to put this in the chat. Just ask. You are entering a season where all you got to do is just ask. I'm going to say that one more time. You are entering a season, and let me just go ahead and say, you have entered the season now where you are at a place where it's like, just ask. What you want? Just ask. Esther answered, here's what I want. If the king favors me and is pleased to do what I desire and ask, let the king and Haman come again tomorrow to dinner that I will fix for them. Then I will give you a straight answer to the king's question. Look at this. God gave her a strategy, but he would not let her tell the king what she needed at that point, because God, tell somebody, put it in the chat, God was working it out. God was using divine timing to bring this thing to pass. I'm going to show you. He was bringing divine timing about. And so she said, she stalled. She said, well, listen, I'm glad hope you enjoyed dinner. I want y'all to come back tomorrow. Then I'm going to tell y'all exactly what I want. So she stalls, because that is the strategy God gave her. That didn't make natural sense, but she's following the instructions she has. So what happens? Haman leaves the palace. He's excited. He's happy. And then he saw Mordecai and he became envious and angry all over again. He hated Mordecai. And so, he's bragging about how he's going to take his own money and he's going to provide what's needed so that they can take out the Jews. And he's like, yeah, because Queen Esther invited me to a private dinner. She liked me. It was just the three of us. It was nice. I felt special. And so they go to this point where, but he's still upset because he hates Mordecai, right? And so his wife tells him, that's why you got to watch who you marry. His wife tells him, well, listen, build a gallows 75 feet high. First thing in the morning, speak with the king and get him to hang Mordecai, right? Get him to hang Mordecai. Just build it. And then tomorrow, right, before dinner, just talk to the king and tell him what you want to happen. Haman liked that, and so he got the gallows built. Let's move to chapter 6. Bless you. When you fast, right, you begin to see so many things happen that it won't make natural sense. Look at what happens. That night, after the dinner that Esther, after she has presented herself They fasted. She's arose. She put on her royal garments. She's went before the king in the inner courts. He says, what do you need, sweetheart? She said, you can have whatever you want. She said, I want to do dinner for you and Haman. Let me prepare it for you. He says, that's fine. He goes get Haman. They have dinner. And then he says, what do you want, baby? You can have up to my half of my kingdom. That's not too much to ask. She said, well, I'll tell you tomorrow. Can we just do dinner one more night? If that's okay. He says, sure, baby. Haman goes home. He thinks everything's Gucci. Everything's straight. Everything's good. I know that's probably not a word I should be using, but whatever. And so they do all that. And then they move into the night. It ain't even the next day, y'all. It ain't. Somebody say the same night. The same night. The same night. The Bible says in Esther 6, that night the king couldn't sleep. Can I say this to you? That people that God has sanctioned to do something for you, they're not going to rest till they give you what belongs to you. They're not going to be able to keep overlooking the fact that God has given them insight and given them instruction to give you what belongs to you. I'm speaking that if it's yours and if it's been assigned to you, that nobody will be able to hold it back. They won't be able to sabotage it. That night, the king could not sleep. He ordered the record book, the day-by-day journal of events, to be brought and read. I love you, sweetheart. Love you, niece. That's one of the baddest singing people you ever met. Y'all need to remember that name right there. Remember that name right there. Remember that name. I love you, sweetheart. Praying for you. But look what happens. He says, hey, I want the day-by-day journal of events to be brought and read to me. They came across the story. So as he's reading through the chronicles of what's happening, he reads a story about how Mordecai had exposed the plot of Bigthana and Teresh, because remember, he was constantly staying near the gates checking on Esther, making sure that she was good. And so because he was there all the time, he was able to see that they were two that were plotting against the king. So he sent word before, if you read earlier in Esther. So he reads about this man who exposed a plot for two royal eunuchs that wanted to kill him, that were going to assassinate him, right? He was like, wait, what do we do for, can you tell me, what did we do for this man? Oh, we talked about it, I think, yesterday when she was talking about Joseph being forgotten. Mordecai could have felt forgotten. He could have, but he maintained his ways. He did not let the fact that he did not get honored in that moment stop him from staying on his post and making sure that he was continuing to cover Esther. What happened? He said, what did we ever do? Did we, what did Pastor Eric, you just said it earlier. The king asked, what great honor was given to Mordecai for this? There go that word again, honor. Honor is a prerequisite for this thing. I'm telling y'all something. He said, what did we do for him? What did we ever do for the one that saved my life? They said nothing. The king's servant said nothing. Nothing has been done for him. Now you got to understand. She has just had dinner with him and Haman, Xerxes and Haman. Haman saw Mordecai as he was leaving the dinner, and he hated him so much that he was like, oh God, I just hate that man. I just want him dead. I want him gone. Right? He can't wait to get up in the morning so he can go to the king to tell the king that he want to kill Mordecai. Only problem is the king can't sleep. Who you think woke him up? Who you think caused him to be restless? Who you think did that? He couldn't sleep because had he slept through the night, he would have missed the moment to honor Mordecai. So God wouldn't let him sleep. This is going to bless somebody. God wouldn't let him sleep till God would not let the king sleep until he honored Mordecai. He said, okay. He said, nothing's been done. So the king said, is there anybody out in the court? And so they said, well, Haman's out there. Haman's out there. Haman out there waiting to get in. He waiting in the court because Haman can't wait to talk to the king, right? But the king now can't wait to talk to Haman. And they can't wait to talk. They can't wait to talk to each other about the same person. Can I tell you something? You are living in a time. It is your place of Gethsemane where one person hates your guts while the other person wants to honor you. I'm going to take a moment right there. You know you in your place of Gethsemane when you got one person that can't stand your guts, that wants you dead, and the other person can't wait to honor you. Can I tell you that you're entering a season where the one that wants to honor you will overtake the one that wants to kill you? I want to speak that every assassin is being exposed in this season. Every assassin, everyone that wants to assassinate who you are, what you've been called to do. I speak that not only they be exposed, but they be overpowered by those that will honor you. I speak that you're coming into new levels and new waves of honor, that you will be honored in ways you've never been honored, that you will be honored in ways that will make up for the years that people have treated you like you were nothing, how they defamed your character, how they talk bad to you, how they used you for what you could do for them, and then when they no longer needed you, they discarded of you. I speak that this is the time when there is a battle between those who honor and those who assassinate and who are the assassins. I decree that those that honor are going to overtake those that are there to assassinate. I speak that. And when Haman entered, the king said, what would be appropriate for the man the king especially wants to honor? See, this is so interesting to me. The king, see, God is working. The king doesn't tell him who he wants to honor. He just says, what would you do for somebody who you really want to honor? Haman, look at this. Haman thought to himself, he said, he must be talking about me. I'm going to set this up because surely the king talking about me. So let me set this up. Let this up. He said, well, you know, if you're really trying to honor, for the man the king delights to honor, I think you should bring a royal robe that the king has worn. I think you should bring a horse that the king has ridden. I think you should have one with a royal crown on his head. I think you should give the robe and the horse to the one of the king's most noble princes. Have him robe the man whom the king especially wants to honor. Have the prince lead him on horseback through the city square, proclaiming before him, this is what is done for the man who the king especially wants to honor. Y'all, Haman developed the strategy to honor the man he wanted to kill. God set it up that in this time of your life, that the same ones that want to take you out will literally don't even know they're setting you up for the best days of your life. That what you are experiencing right now is going to work for you and not against you, but you got to stay in place. He said, oh, okay then, Haman. He said, well, I need you to go and do that. He said, don't waste another minute. Take the robe and the horse and do what I proposed to Mordecai. Don't leave a single detail out of the plan you came up with. You know it was a gag. You know it was a gag. For Mordecai to can't wait to go see the king so he can tell him I want to kill Mordecai. Only for him not knowing that the king was talking about Mordecai and to ask him what should he do for somebody he wants to honor, and him to give a whole elaborate honor plan, a way to honor somebody who he then had to go do it himself. He went in to kill him, but he left out honoring him. Can I speak over your life? Yes. That they're going to come in one way, but they're going to leave another. They're going to come in to assassinate. They're going to leave out honoring. They're going to have to. They're going to have to. Even if it's indirectly. Look what happens. So Haman did it. Then Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman fled to the house because he was mortified, hiding his face, because he knew that his luck had ran out. While they were still talking, verse 14, the king's eunuchs arrived and hurried and Haman off to dinner that Esther had prepared. See, this thing was set up. So before Haman could even think about how he could escape what was going to happen next, it was time for dinner again. Chapter 7, it was time for dinner. And in that time is when the queen says, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready to tell you what I want. He said, okay, queen, what you want? She said, if I found favor in your eyes, O king, if it please you, give me the life and give me my people's life. He said, oh. She said, we were sold into slavery. No, we were sold, and my people, and we were destroyed. We were sold to be massacred and eliminated. And if we be sold into slavery, I wouldn't have been brought up. Our troubles wouldn't have been worth bothering the king. He said, what? I know I was all over the place with that piece. Forgive me for that. But he said, wait a minute, what happened? Who's coming against you? Who coming against your people? Who got a problem with you? He said, who is he? Where is he? He said, oh, it's Haman. Haman, your right hand is the one. King is your right hand person. An enemy, an adversary, this evil Haman, Esther said. Haman was terror-stricken before the king and queen. He started pleading for his life. Now, this man was ready to take out a whole people group, but he was getting ready to lose his own life. And the same gallows that he built, 75-foot gallows that he built to kill Mordecai, was the same gallows that was used to kill him. He was hung by the same trap that he set for somebody else. It caught him up. And I'm telling you all something. And if you keep reading Esther, you realize they got so much victory. He let Esther really lay out the plan of what she wanted to happen. And Mordecai got such a promotion. May the Mordecais that are under the sound of my voice, may you understand that you have not been forgotten and that you're getting ready to experience promotion. The Mordecais, the ones that were willing to stay at the gate, that were willing to look out for the one that had the position. I just need you to know that the king is going to rule in your favor. If you keep studying, you'll realize that Haman was killed. Not only Haman, but his sons were killed. And so many people were killed. Hundreds of people were killed as a result, but not the people of God. That Esther and Mordecai, not only that Esther was in good graces, but Mordecai went on to become an amazing, I think he had like the highest position that you could have. And it got to the point where the king was like, no, the Bible was like, it was almost, you didn't want to not be a Jew. That's just how God had turned it for them. They went from being a hated people to being, I want to be like you. I want to be a Jew now. I want to be a Jew because I see the favor on you. I just want you to know that there's a favor that is resting on the people that are willing to just stay postured during this time. You want to see supernatural breakthrough in your life? Supernatural breakthrough is only going to come when you understand your assignment and when you will not try to tuck your tail when you've been called to do something. Understand what your assignment is in this season. Stick to the assignment that God has given you. Right. I see that. Stick to the assignment God has given you. Whether your assignment is to do what Mordecai is doing, whether your assignment is to do what Esther's doing, whatever your assignment, get in that position and be willing to do your part. Stop trying to do other people's part. Why? Because it worked out for Mordecai and Esther and everybody that was connected to them. This place you're in, this place of crushing, this place of breaking that you're in is going to affect everybody connected to you. You cannot tuck now. You cannot run now. You cannot want to get out now. This is the time for you to stick and stay. This is the time for you to stand. Having done all to stand, this is the time for you to put on the whole armor of God. This is the time for you to listen, fasting is not even optional for us anymore. There's so much strategy we missing out on because we won't turn our plates over. And let's be clear, we can all afford to do that. So let us understand that we're in a time in our lives now where this is a critical month. I'm going to end it out with this. July is a critical month, guys. It's critical. Don't you let nobody get you out of place. Don't you let no one get you out of sorts. Don't you let no one get you acting outside of your character. It ain't worth it because see, you know what's coming. And because you know what's coming, you don't have to get ahead of it. It may be tight right through here. Can I say something to you? It may get tighter even after this call. Even after we finish, maybe tomorrow, you may get some other news, but I just need you to know that it's still going to work for your good. I just need you to know that for GT, for the Gethsemane tribe, I just need you to know that it's still going to work. I just need you to know that, there's this whole challenge going on right now about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, that whole thing. Listen, I don't even think it's by accident that they count, because they count to 8. Because let me tell you, something's going to happen in the 8th month. Something's happening for us in August. And so we want to be sure, keep counting, because we want to be sure that we are postured and ready. By the time we move into August 1st, we will be in a completely different place. I'm telling you what I know, but you got to stay postured. You got to stay postured. You got to stick to what God told you to do. You got to do it even when your flesh say no. I would encourage you to find a day each week to fast. And I'm telling you, just not religiously, but from a perspective of God, am I missing any strategy? Hey, Dad, am I missing any strategy? I've gotten my best strategies in fasting while I've been fasting. And many of you all have been fasting with me now for 2 years or more. And the strategies we get have been we know, like the same scriptures you've been reading for years, we've been getting new strategy out of it. I believe it's because we're posturing ourselves. So just like God gave Esther a plan and he worked on her behalf because of the 3 days of fasting, I just believe that there's so many testimonies that are going to come out of this 3 days that we've had together. So much is going to happen. Father God, I thank you for every person under the sound of my voice. I thank you for every person that has aligned themselves over these last couple of days, even if they got in even on one day. Father God, I thank you for every person that has been in this place called Gethsemane. This olive pressing, this time where the pulp is unrecognizable, where we feel the stones pressing down with this irresistible pressure that is trying to get the oil out of the olive. God, in this time in our lives, may we not try to get out of the place of crushing and pressing. For your word says that it pleased you to bruise him because of what would come out of it. There is a breakthrough on the other side of the break. Something has to break before breakthrough can manifest. I'm excited and I praise you and we glorify you now for the breakthrough that is coming. God, we pray that you would, God, continue to position us. I pray, God, that you would continue to encourage the Mordecais and the Esthers and those that have different mandates. God, continue to help us to know our role and our placement in this season, and may we not get out of place. I pray, God, even for those tonight, God, that feel led to sow, God, and into this their breakthrough seed or their deeper seed, God, I pray, God, as they release their faith tonight, that you would meet them at the point of their need. I thank you, God, that we're moving into not just our needs being met, but our desires. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? When you catch this, I just feel Gethsemane was about not my will, but your will be done. But when you know how to process through Gethsemane, it becomes, what do you want? You go from what you had to do to then having what you want. Do not grow weary in well doing tonight. Whatever you do, don't grow weary. I promise you it's going to get better. I'm holding you to this. Let's hold each other accountable. You see someone going through, let's hold each other accountable. Let's lift them up, because we all are at that place where we need that breakthrough. We need that breakthrough. All right. Tonight I'm giving one more appeal. Many of you all have already sown. You've sown deeper seeds. If many of you, maybe you haven't, and maybe you feel led tonight. I want to challenge every person on the sound of my voice that have been blessed by this broadcast, that you really sense that this word tonight was for you, or that this deeper, these 3 days have been for you. I've been praying over the seeds that have been coming in. I'm praying even tonight for those of you all that feel led to sow. I pray tonight that as you release that seed with a cheerful heart, that sacrificial seed, I pray that you would see, I'm decreeing over those seeds that have been sown over these 3 days, and those that are continuing to sow. I decree that there is a 72-hour turnaround. I'm going to speak that by 3 days from now, that you will know that the seed that I planted, ooh, this produced that. May we get to the point where it happens so fast, that Amos 9:13, that it happens so fast it would literally make your head spin because it's happening so fast. I decree that over you. So I'm encouraging you tonight. I thank you all for rocking with me during this Deeper July. It has been absolutely amazing. Thank you again, Overseer Vaj, for pouring out and sharing the words of the Lord. We tag teamed this time, and it was absolutely amazing. Thank you all for praying with us and for us. Thank you for jumping on the line in the mornings at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for coming on at 9 p.m. Some of you guys did both of them. You're catching the replays. We appreciate you all. When I tell you we appreciate you all, and we cannot wait to see what God does, please share those testimonies. Yes, please catch the replay. I definitely want you to, just reach out if God moves and you have a testimony. Let us know what God is doing, because I expect him to do it. I'm expecting it. Somebody put in the chat. I'm going to end on this note, but somebody put in the chat 72 hours. I'm speaking that seeds that you're releasing tonight and that you've been releasing this week, that there'll be a 72-hour return. That you will see something manifest as you're releasing your faith through your seed tonight. And that as you're releasing it. I love you guys. Thank you. I see that 72 in there. I see that 72. I see you guys. And I see that you guys are sowing. I see you guys sowing. And I decree and declare that nothing that you need will you not have. And that you're not just moving into a season of needs being met, but you're moving into a season of your desires being met. Don't lose your desire. Don't lose your desire. This has been another Deeper July Fast. GT, Gethsemane Tribe, stay tuned. I promise you, give me about a week, and I'm going to be sharing more information with you about our us finishing this thing out, because there's more to this, and we don't want to miss what it is that God is doing. I love you guys so much. Thank you all so much. Continue praying for me. Anytime you think of me, pray for me. Cover me, please. We're all in our Gethsemane, so pray for me as well. Pray for all of us as we pour and as we continue to pour. And I'm praying for you all, many of you all that are leaders, and you're pouring into other people, and you have your own ministries and your own work. I'm praying that God will continue to cover you and keep you and protect you. Don't get out of position, all right? I see you guys sowing. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have an amazing night. God bless.